Smooth voice on a Tuesday. Let's go. We're just counting down, about to start the content. Join us at youtube.com/TomCrown. Discord.gg/TomCrown. Let's go. You are now listening to the sounds of trading. 90 seconds left till we go live. We've got our market update. Stay tuned, sit in, grab a brew, roll one up. It's Tuesday, boys. Welcome back. It's Tuesday. We had a long weekend over the Bitcoin halving, and it definitely didn't disappoint, or at least my weekend didn't. Bitcoin price action leaves something to be desired, but here we are. It is Tuesday. You are here. I am here. Welcome, fam. Good to be back. Got some stuff to update you on what I'm looking at in the market this week. I hope that these breakdowns help you guys out. We're going to go over to the macros, basically, of the crypto world and what we can keep an eye on into the week ahead. So thank you for joining. Smash the buttons, hype it up. You know the deal. Shout out to our sponsors, Lux, Algo, and everyone else in the video description below. All right, so here we are. Here we go. We're pretty much where we left it at the halving. We've had some nice green candles, but is it enough to tip the favor back in the bull's corner? You know my deal. I'm always bullish. I don't think the top's in, but we're going to take a look, as we do every week, at some potential topping signals, and we're going to just briefly decide if they're giving us a hint that the top is actually in. So my advice to everyone, just like it was a few days ago, don't do anything in a panic. This is a long-term game. It's going to take time. It's going to take pain, tears, and sweat, but you can do it. I believe in you. Don't be shaken out. Make your decisions rationally, make a plan. You know the deal, guys. You know it. All right, thesis unchanged from last week. I also want to shout out Mr. Poppy, our awesome writer. The article link in the video description below on crownanalysis.com. Putting these out every week, helping us out. It is wonderful. There's really no change to our on-chain metrics or sentiment indicators, which is both good and bad. It's good because none of them are giving us topping signals. It's bad because I want more bullish sentiment. I want more up. It doesn't seem to be in the cards for April, but we still have about a week to go, so anything can happen. Key levels, as we've noted, horizontals on our chart, support ranging from 40s, probably in the worst case, to the 60s, and that's pretty much what we've seen. Price is currently bouncing off the 60,000 support, but has yet to post a higher. It hasn't posted a higher high, but I'd argue it has posted a higher low. We'll take a look at that. For those of you just joining us for the first time after the market wrap up, we'll take a look at the charts, Bitcoin, everything else you're looking at. I got some spicy stuff for you too, so we're going to get through this. Our bullish case remains the same. ETF inflows gobbling up Bitcoin supply. We do see GBTC continue to sell off its hoarded stash of Bitcoin. It doesn't really seem to be, I'll say it's slowing, but it doesn't seem to be stopping. I was speculating that Grayscale would change their fee schedule to be more in competition with the other ETFs, but we haven't seen it yet. Only rumors, to my knowledge. The bear case, of course, for those bears out there. The Fed may not taper rates this year. We are actually very much in that corner at this point. I hate to say it, but I think we're more likely to get an interest rate hike than a cut in Q2 or 3 of this year. We'll see what 4 brings. In the light of recent job data that we've seen, we have PMI coming out today, and the U.S. election could introduce divisive political and regulatory dialogue around cryptocurrency. It's almost guaranteed at this point. Geopolitical tensions in the Mideast and Ukraine, the U.S. dollar benefiting from weakness of its competing currencies. However, we may be seeing a little bit of that momentum slow down on the dollar. We'll be pulling that up later. If you're buying spot, keep DCA in chads. That's the way to do it. You're going to find out the longer you trade, the more you wish you just DCA'd Bitcoin. Might take you a few years to realize that, but I promise you will. Promising narratives. This is kind of in the highlight from the Bitcoin halving. We watched it live. I want to thank everyone who joined us for that late night stream. It was our second live streamed halving event on this channel. Cheers to the third in 4 years. I'm looking forward to it, counting the days down. But these narratives actually pretty big on the Bitcoin halving. What we saw were a bunch of empty blocks mined as miners competed for what I thought was that 6.25 Bitcoin reward. However, there was another treasure that these miners were looking to claim using the same method. Basically, since the advent of ordinals, we've seen the Bitcoin transaction fees increase, and typically this has been a bullish signal for the market. That was where my brain went logically. However, there was some new stuff that emerged on the halving block. And to my knowledge, and I am not an expert at this, but that would be runes. Runes on Bitcoin. This is definitely a narrative that should be discussed. I'll have to look into this a little bit more, but apparently they went live and congested the Bitcoin blockchain. This is definitely an argument for layer 2s into this year. We have seen them outperform Bitcoin like stacks, at least so far, but it's something to keep an eye on. I will admit I have not been doing enough homework. I've not been keeping up to date enough with these, but that's going to change here in the next few weeks. Something cool, we have the same long-term cycle forecast, but there's a little bit of interest here I wanted to share. This is made by Poppy, and this is actually not just the Bitcoin chart. This is the Bitcoin chart divided by the M2 supply, one of our favorite kind of hack Bitcoin charts that we have. And using this ascending parallel channel from our previous 2 highs in 17 and 21, we get about 112% move from our recent highs, giving us about 140K. What do you guys think? I personally think that's too low for a cycle top, but man, that could definitely happen. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know your opinions. Is it aiming too low? Is it aiming too high? Let us know in the comments and in the live chat. Market health. This is my favorite part. So these are our cycle top indicators, or things we're looking at to give us indications of when a cycle top is near. And the good side of this is there's really no change. Supply on Bitcoin remains pretty much the way it's been the whole year, slowly trickling off. There is no real notable change over the last week, but we see this continuing to sell off or continuing to lower the amount of available Bitcoin to be sold on exchange, typically a bullish metric by anyone's standards. Net unrealized profit and loss, or NUPL, we do see, again, roughly where we were last week. I promise these will change at some point. This is good though. We don't want these to be really high right now, or else we may be looking for a cycle top. Supply and exchanges not signaling that. Here we go with Newpol, also not signaling that either. We see that actually moving down away from our historical cycle top range. This is potentially adding upside room for the rally to continue as we see this very descending channel flaggish pullback just below the highs. Minor position index MPI. Again, no significant changes this week, honestly, to any of them. That's probably not a surprise considering price really hasn't moved. But this is one of my favorites, and this is essentially miners positions. When we pull this up, we see that miners continue to sell at a pretty low rate, at least according to the average. We have not had a significant spike in miner selling since all the way back in March. Not bad. We would have expected that into the halving, but we didn't really get it. And an interesting note on top of this is miners seem to not be selling on the weekends. Tinfoil hat, conspiracies, let them run wild. I don't know. Just an interesting thing. On the weekends, they seem to not be selling. I could argue this is perhaps this is in relation to ETFs and the way that they are trading generally just on the weekdays. Maybe trying to keep prices a little higher into Monday for that liquidity. Your guess is as good as mine. But as long as this remains low, I am not seeing this is a cycle top indication at the moment. Good news. Bitcoin net flows from all exchanges, same thing. Seems to be hovering around zero here with little dips into positive and negative. The market itself seeming undecided on what's going to happen next. Pi cycle indicator, no change here, just at the top of the band. Still looking just like 2020 as we reached 20,000 and the top of this green band on Pi cycle, roughly where we were before, so we're not going to spend any time. Market cap to realized cap performance in the last 7 days, still neutral, year to date bullish. We have no top signal yet. Interesting minor top range coming in here. This is a little threatening. I think it should be a little threatening to the chartists out there. What we see is that minor top range that we're currently at is a little similar to 2019. Higher high, but still somewhat reminiscent. And what I read from this chart is Bitcoin needs to hit more higher highs this year to really put behind the concerns of that 2019 failed rally. I'm not in that boat. We were looking for that throughout 2013 for maybe a top of like 48K, but we've blown past it. We're at new all-time highs, and that does change things up. That's definitely a different picture than what we saw in 2019. The dollar, here we are, the big stuff. We're going to look at this chart too. The dollar has been ripping over the last few weeks. However, it does seem to have lost a little bit of momentum. We are seeing some red and even just a pause on the rally, and that is, in my opinion, bullish into this week, provided our big datas come in strong. I think that's a good sign. The dollar was very oppressive over the last few weeks, and it kept crypto, stocks, indices, whatever it is, down as the dollar's strength expanded. We broke trend line of the dollar. Market, let's go to the market sentiment here. Still leaning bullish, but no top signal yet. Coinbase app ranking remains not in the top 10. 260 globally and 13 among finance apps. In the past, we've seen this rocket to the first place when Bitcoin's put in cycle tops. So this also not suggesting that. Google Trends right where it should be, down here in the dumps from our previous year high, as the market and sentiment seems to be cooling off. Retail maybe checked out a little bit here as Bitcoin trades sideways. Dominance, another huge chart. I'm going to disagree. It broke my trend line. Huge chart we'll have to update on after this, which we're almost done with actually. Dominance, a big player in the market as Bitcoin dominance rises. Altcoins tend to take a beating, and that is what we've seen over the last year plus. We haven't seen a huge breakout, which is our signal, if you've been watching these streams, to enter alt positions. We haven't gotten that yet, but the closer or the more we inch up towards it, I think the more in grasp it becomes. So we're going to take a look at dominance then. Crypto and economic calendar. Here's the big boys. Here we go. Today we have PMI. This is definitely a big one, forecasted at 52 points, previous 51.9, and that looks like a miss. 49.9 in the actual for PMI US manufacturing. S&P Global Services PMI also down from forecast, and new home sales, rip to my fellow millennials out there. New home sales up above forecast, beating the previous month's data. On Wednesday, we have durable goods, crude oil inventories. Thursday, GDP, initial jobless claims, and Friday, core PCE price index year over year and month over month. Lots of big numbers potentially coming in this week that may impact May 1st's FOMC. I believe it's May 1st. You better tune in for Chirpow on the 1st. Lots of data coming in. Will they have that data by the FOMC? Your guess is as good as mine. Probably not. Probably not. Let's see what's next. So my fun charts before we jump into the real stuff. Butter. You've been hearing all about cocoa, but what about butter? Butter, cash settled futures up near all-time highs, to my knowledge, at least multi-decade highs. This is off the back of the previous cocoa explosion on the chart. Cocoa has been parabolic. Oh, wrong one. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Here we go. Cocoa, parabolic. It's actually gone farther than this. Cocoa has made it a crazy, like 3,000% gain this year. Off the back of the butter gain, something is worrying. I'm worried. The price of cake is about to explode. If you guys have a cake shop or a bakery, or maybe just making cakes at home, you might be in the right business this year. What I'm watching next is for eggs, flour, salt, all the other ingredients. This is concerning because we all love cake, and we don't want to see cake moon. Honestly, let's keep cake cheap. I made a tweet about this. I thought it was fun. Basically, cocoa and butter parabolic this year, bullish on cake. You can follow me, twitter.com/TomCrownCrypto. I'll throw in that link here for all of you to enjoy and to like and to retweet. No cake. No, my baby. Bitcoin fees. This is what's kind of cool. I was talking about this briefly about runes and ordinals, and I will look in more and do my homework for you guys. We'll update with more details. I just don't want to talk on a topic I don't really have a grasp on. But Bitcoin fees I do. And here is the chart of the total Bitcoin history of fees. And what we've seen in the past is fees. Where's my mouse? We've seen fees expand into the cycle tops. We saw this in 2017. We saw this in 21. But something interesting going on here over the course of the last year, though we have not even seen with these fees cycle top or even price highs, Ordinals has brought much higher transaction fees to Bitcoin. Love it or hate it. If you think it's spam or not spam, whatever, I don't care. Use Bitcoin's network however you'd like. That's how maxis are supposed to say. I don't know. They don't anymore. Now they get mad about stuff. They're getting boomery. We saw a big spike as Ordinal craze took off, and it looks like into 24, another one. Here we are, having block with the highest transaction fees, I believe, ever in the history of Bitcoin on that one day, on that one block. The fees so high, they almost reached the price. Pretty wild here. I do expect that to simmer down, and I believe it already has. This is not a permanent or perpetual state for Bitcoin, though next halving, we may have some foresight into what we can expect fee-wise, right? If this happened this time, 4 years from now, probably gonna see something similar. That's the entire market wrap up. I know it wasn't too long. It is Tuesday, but I want to jump into the charts. I want to see what you guys are looking at. So let's do it. Real quick, we have a new sponsor coming in, Meta Signals, metasignals.io. This is a project that I was asked to join with Eric Crown with the K, shout out to him, and Crypto Zombie. Two great guys in the space, great names, great reputations. They said, we need someone, we want another creator to push this a little bit. It is, yes, a proprietary signal system. We are a little skeptical of signals here. We are. But just like what we do in our streams, I think there's value for you guys. This is an expensive product. Don't get me wrong. It's not for someone day one in crypto or trading. But just like our streams, we do trade ideas. It is really difficult to look at every chart all the time. And I think that's the value that Meta Signals is going to give us into the future of our partnership here, is just another place, another source to find good ideas. It doesn't mean that they're all going to be winners. It doesn't mean you can't lose money, but there's something to build and even just to alert you of potential setups. So we'll talk about those more into the future. And of course, 𝐿𝐼. Sign up with our sponsor, 𝐿𝐼. Link in the video description, and you'll get a 1-month risk-free trial using my link, tomcrown.io/𝐿𝐼. You guys know them. They're goats. There we are. 𝐂𝐫𝐫 Futures, just to give you an idea, there you are. 𝐂𝐫𝐫 Futures stealing our bull run. I think this is what's happening. We should be at 1 million, but 𝐂𝐫𝐫 won't allow it. 𝐂𝐫𝐫 hit 12,000 last week. Seeing it pull back a little bit here. I wonder what's correlated with 𝐂𝐫𝐫. I don't know. Not many charts have this much green and now this 1 week of red. That brings me over to kind of the dollar, maybe. The dollar, been seeing many green, much up. This week, I was talking about momentum slowing down, maybe relieving some of that selling pressure on markets. Here we are. Pretty clear momentum to the upside. This isn't the rally killer, I'd say, yet. We're going to need to see much lower numbers on the dollar to say this momentum's done. But it may be chilling here. It does seem to be struggling over the last 6 or 7 days to break 1065. This is a very important number to the dollar or Dixie chart. Looking at the monthly, you'll see why. 1065, roughly exactly where this topped out, is the high from October and November of last year. Breaking past 1065, I'll say confirmation above 1074, and all of a sudden the dollar looks like it wants to retest its highs. I don't think it's going to do it. God, I hope it's not going to do it. I'm enjoying this little bit of blood. But more downside for the dollar equal more upside in general for everything else. And that's 2 thumbs up for me. What do you guys think? Is the dollar done this year? It is possible. Could be done here. I don't think it's done for the year, honestly. I don't think it's going back to the highs of like 114, 112. But I don't know if it's done, man. It's hard to discount the dollar. It's hard to say it's not going to do something. It's kind of stubborn like Bitcoin. Whenever it's like, oh, Bitcoin definitely looks like it's going to go up, it goes down. And whenever you're like, oh man, that's going to dump like crazy, then all of a sudden it pumps out of nowhere. The dollar has those kind of same weird characteristics. One of the hardest things, in my opinion, to chart is the Dixie. Likely because there's a lot of moving parts with it. All right, I don't care about the dollar anymore. We're done. I do have XRP pulled up because people were talking about Ripple. If you want to see Ripple charted today, let me know in the chat. Put something in the chat. Let me know about your XRP pulls. Ooh, thank you, Captain Killam, over on TikTok for the heart and bagels or whatever those are. I appreciate you, my friend. GM Daniel. Oh, my headphones just turned off. Powering down. All right. I am here. I am a real person. This is live. I'm just getting through our warm-ups, through our base knowledge to build on in the episode. I'm going to do something a lot of you hate, but a lot of you love. We're going to talk about the moon. The moon, not literally. Every 2 weeks, we talk about the moon briefly, and here we are again. Sitting at, I believe it is, it's a full moon, right? Full moon? New moon, full moon. Full moon. Thank you, phone. Sitting at a full moon today. What we see in Bitcoin is whether it's to do with the moon or maybe the difficulty adjustment, which happens every 2 weeks roughly, or something else. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. But what does matter to me is that the moon cycle has real correlation with markets and the Bitcoin price. You can't blindly trade this like anything, but it's something to keep an eye on. I certainly do. Every 2 weeks, I have a little ding in my head and I say, oh crap, the moon cycle's changed. So let's just look back really briefly why this might be important. Looking back just to the ETF time. This is very fit. I understand that. These ones work well. What we see is on the new moon, we tend to be around a cycle or a 2 week low. This happens with pretty good confidence. During our new moons, these are the blue ones up here, we tend to see our cycle highs. for about the next 2 weeks. It's not perfect. You can see here in February, we continue moving up after a new moon, but this does fit better. Like, I can't even say with a straight face. I can't explain it. Can you explain it, guys? Tell me why this works. On February 24th, now let's go back a little bit before. January 25th, this was right after the ETF sold. Mind you, the day ETFs opened, January 11th, was a new moon. Corresponded with about a 2-week high. From that new moon, we sold off until when? The new moon, January 23rd. We began reversing and climbing back up. This is a little bit of a miss early February. Later in February, on the next new moon, we rallied to new all-time highs. The new moon came on March. We sold off for 2 weeks. The full moon came later in March. We rallied. We didn't break our high, so it was like kind of unsuccessful. But anyway, back to the new moon on the 8th. We sold off right before the halving. Here we are, guys, at the full. I always get these mixed up when I say them. At the full moon. This happens today. I would say that, no, I'm not going to open a trade based on this. I'm not going to open a 100x leverage saying moon said let's go. But what I will say is I think the odds of the next 2 weeks seeing upside are greater than the last 2 weeks. And that's pretty much all I can say with this. It's an exciting time, I think, an exciting part on the chart to see this moon phase come in. By the way, this is just a moon phase indicator. You can get this on TradingView. It's free. Exciting time as we've had at least what looks to me like midterm bottom. I think that this is going to shape us up for the next 2 weeks to at least re-explore maybe 71. I think that's aiming pretty low. I think we'll see a gradual climb over the next 2 weeks just based on the moon and the position of the charts. You're welcome to disagree. I know TA is astrology for men, so why not just make it actually astrology, right? Just bring it in. What's Venus doing? Or Mercury? Is Mercury in retro whatever? Is someone figure that out for me? Looking on the week here, we opened the week at 64.9, just below 65,000. We have passed last week's open at 65.7. This is showing us some bullish momentum in the market, especially coming off of last week's wick low. This long bottom wick is showing us buying pressure. It's saying bulls were not going to allow price to move lower. They valued it higher than the bears, and they were able to push it back, not quite to the open, which would have been great. A beautiful hammer candle would have been an awesome reversal there, but we can say this is some kind of spinning doji top, typically leading to some kind of reversal, even if just a short-term reversal. So for this week, I'm looking for 65.7 or above close, get that bullish engulf, and then retarget 71.3 back to the top of our range. I think this is the likely move for Bitcoin over the course of the next week or two. Let's add that on there. Something like this. Let's take a peek here. We want moving up. Money flow. Not a lot of changes on our indicators. I'm going to pull up Lux Algo signals and overlays just because I like it. That's not going to show us anything on the week. That's okay. Please scratch that. Let's go back to this. Bull market support band. I know that we have some bull market support band followers here. Right below us. Each week we trade sideways. This band continues to reach up. And now, Benjamin Cohen would be proud. That bull market band sitting at about 56K. Interesting, as this 57, 58-ish area was where a lot of people were looking over the last few weeks. If we can trade sideways, or even if, let's say this, even if we do return to 71.3 over this week and next week, that's likely enough time, just eyeing it. Wow, that does not work well. Likely enough time for this band to get basically to our range lows. Good news since last week, we still have not broken our range lows, down at 59.2. This was kind of the logical hurdle when everyone was panicking last week was, guys, I know this is spooky. We're down near range lows, but we haven't even broken our structure. We're still holding March's low. It's not time to panic quite yet, though we are very close at that point. Hopefully, I was able to walk some of you back onto the ledge that were in a panic that day looking to sell. Always a good idea to just take a break when you're feeling panicked. When you think, if I don't act right now, I'm going to be screwed. That thought should set off a red flag in your head. And that should be your signal to go do something else. I promise you, the amount of times where you see something happening, especially if you're zoomed in on the chart and you freak out and you think you have to do something, out of a million times, like one time, it might be a good idea to do that. In general, it is very successful to just walk away. If you had done that, you would have come back to higher prices. So if you're still panicked, at least you got a little bit more bang for your buck. Let's see, down on the day. Let's zoom in a little bit here. 𝐂𝐸𝐧 giving us a little bit of a trend change after yesterday's open. Not quite back in the green. I think that's going to take that test of 71.3 to get there. Ooh, I know. I got one more thing to look at for you guys, and then I'll turn to the chat. I promise I love you. I'm not trying to ignore you. Accounts for YouTubers and TikTokers out there, and I don't know, Facebook, wherever. If you could do me a favor, though, please tap that screen, hit the likes, follow, subscribes. Let's get this stream a little bit more bumping. I do have one more thing to update you guys on, because we looked at this, I think, last week, and I think it's worth looking at again. To remind you, in front of us is the 20 and 50 moving averages on the daily time frame. On the 17th of April, right before the halving, we did see them cross bearishly, meaning the 20, the shorter moving average, crossed under the 50. This is technically a death cross, but a death cross has more details. This is just a bearish cross, okay? So not a good sign, but what we looked at is there seems to be, at least in the last year or so, some correlation between this specific daily time frame cross and Bitcoin putting in, let's say, local lows. So here we are, past it. We are now, it's the 22nd, we're back up to the 50 daily. That's a good sign. Back here, let's look straight down from this cross. We were within 24 hours, I'd argue, less of this range bottom, at least for now, right? So remember this, moving back. Let's go right back here. This is again the post ETF sell-off on January 23rd. About one day, we got the cross. About one day before the bottom was in, we moved higher. Let's go back one more. That's not a good one. This one doesn't fit. That's okay. Going back here to March. So now we have potentially, this is two, but potentially we'll have three examples. March, exact same sell-off, looking down, pointed out the local low again. So there is some in between that don't fit this. I do concede that. I can definitely concede that. But what I will say is, to me, what it looks like is for each of these significant sell-offs that we've seen since 2023 started, we have had this exact cross above us. While that does not guarantee that the low is in, that Bitcoin will never trade below 59.7, I think it's a pretty interesting thing to look at. We looked at this days ago when this was not so obvious, now that we have hindsight, but we may again see Bitcoin put in its local low here off the back of this 2050 cross. Just something cool to look at. Sharing the alpha. Here's our range. This is what we're hoping into this week. I think that arrow disappeared there. She blows. This is what I'm looking for into this week. Here's our trading range, 59.2 to 71.3. And we're pretty much in the middle of it right now. We're right in the middle of it. Market cipher B did give us a little green dot here. Money flow moving back up. Not a lot, man. This sideways price action has not given us much of an edge. Not at all. Let me get one little rant in first. We don't have much of an edge right now. I'm going to be real. But we do have an edge that is beyond the charts. That is beyond whatever we might be able to find on any time frame. And that is Bitcoin has broken an all-time high. It's broken an all-time high. It has not sold off. I know maybe there's some new people out there. Welcome if you're finding us for the first time. That might be spooked by this. About 20% downside. We haven't seen even like real sell-offs. Bitcoin's at an all-time high. It feels to me like the market sentiment is being engineered, I don't know, to feel much more bearish than it is. In reality, nothing bearish has happened. We've hit an all-time high. We haven't moved lower. Actually, you want to look at it really, we have not moved lower than the lowest point we hit or pulled back to right before the new all-time high. That's that 59.2. That could still be in play, but we've, in a disagreement with Mr. Poppy, our article writer, even though he's wonderful, I want to say, or I'll say, we haven't hit a lower low. We've only hit a higher low, technically. We had a higher high. This is still a higher low off the back of the previous low. So all we have to do, break 40 or 74K. Now we have a higher high. We're in our uptrend. Don't get distracted by, I don't know, the FUD, the bearish narratives, your friends telling you Bitcoin's a scam. I don't know. Don't let them get into your head. There's a reason they're not successful in Bitcoin and crypto, the people that say that. Don't be like them. You don't want to end up like them. All right, let me pull up the chats here. Let me see what you guys are saying, what you're looking at today. Let's shout people out. Who's here today? Derek Merrill, I see you, bro. I see you, Derek. There we are. There's the main stream. Derek over on the mobile stream. If you're viewing a very skinny stream here on the mobile stream, if you don't want that, if you want the full resolution, you can join us on the main one. Just navigate to the YouTube channel. What's up, Fifth Collapse, Alexandra G? What's up, Bruce, DT Burnham, Danny, Aaron, Carter, who else? Harry T, Typho, Ryan, BG, Crypto Steve-O, Curtis Nee1, Dave Digital, Dave Gelfan, Dino Mike, Foxy, Janix, John Doe, Fuza, what's up, Fuza? Japernicus, Joa, Juquin Chanero, Line in My Pocket, Loading Name, Magnus Larson, Mighty Novocaine, Oh No Y2K, One with Nature, Robbie1, Kenobi, Ricardo, Rigo, Senor Scoops, C-Mono, Pickle's back. God, it's so good to have him back. The OC guy, Tillin, Warren, Yellow Yup Candle, Zigzag. Who else? Everybody else I missed. What's up, Carter? Last time I hit an all-time high, I didn't go sideways for a bit. Probably. Where? No, not really. Well, if you want to say back here in 2020, yeah. Did go sideways for a bit. Actually, how long? 30 days? Where are we at now? Good question, Carter. We're a little bit past that time frame. It's all right. What's up, Mike Bennett, my guy, Crypto Mel? I see you all. I see everybody. VeChain opinion. I haven't gotten an alert for VeChain. Maybe we should go over the alerts. I haven't looked at them in a while. Let's go. Yes, let's go. Let us go. It's going to be interesting once all the hype comes back. We might have too many names to shout out. That'll be okay. Why is Bitcoin battling at 66666? Well, it's currently at 66688, so I think it's just a number. Bitcoin tends to battle at almost every number. It's difficult to name a number that Bitcoin's traded to that it hasn't battled it out for, right? Or at least returned to. What's up, Crypto Chef? JQN, each cycle has went several weeks and then the real party starts. We're early still. Guys, we are so ahead of schedule. We are so ahead of schedule on this cycle. There has never been a cycle where we have been this far ahead. New all-time highs pre-halving. You go back to the last halving. Here you go. We were right about here. Post-halving, we did not hit an all-time high for like 220 days. We are way ahead of schedule. And really, if you want to look at it this way, after the halving, we moved sideways for 100 days. We didn't break any lows. We just traded sideways. How would you feel if we did that? I personally don't want that to happen, obviously. But that could be in the cards. It wouldn't be bearish. It'd be pretty normal. The exciting times, I think I read once that Bitcoin tends to make it's something like 75% of its moves in just, I think it was like 8 days in a year, which means you have like 350 something days where you're just revisiting levels or moving sideways. The problem is if you miss those 7 or 8 days, whatever it is, you miss so much of the rally that you end up just probably just being in the red, really. You miss the huge explosions. They do tend to happen after periods of boring, right? Here's a kind of lower time frame example on the day. 13 days sideways at 51K before rocketing up. This honestly kind of looks like this, doesn't it? Actually, it really does. Just on a bigger time frame. Wonder if we'll get something like this. That'd be cool. Hopium. That's all right. That's all right. A little bit of hopium's good. Thoughts on whiff? Haven't looked at whiff in a while. I think I'll just continue killing the most participants. That's right. That's right, Brennan. H-bar, bullish. What is actually moving? Is anything actually doing anything interesting? Let's see. Hidar. All right, H-bar. H-bar at 11 cents. Now I don't think that's like a yearly high for it or anything. But H-bar up 26% in the last 24 hours. Pepe trying to reclaim some of its highs. Floki, man, we might be looking at these memes again. Why are memes running again? My lord. What is AKT? A cash network. Does anybody know what that is? Has anyone looked at AKT? Does anyone own AKT? A cash network. Is that a play on the word cash? Like money? AKT. Hold up, got a lot of screens. Yeah. A cash. Man, all in one hourly candle. Just saying, tend to make their moves in very small time frames, and then the rest of the time not much. All right, AKT. I've never looked at this. I'm not going to do a totally in-depth look at it. That wick is not pleasant. You did move to what looks like a new all-time high, but man, you are getting sold off fast. Lots of profit taking coming in on that. Market maybe not quite sure of what's going to happen here for AKT. 2-cent analysis here. Monthly order block sits at about 490. That might be the entry. As low as 477. What's up, Jack Harrison? You like the stream? Thank you. I like you. Might be looking for that monthly order block if this selling continues on AKT today. I don't know what this is. I didn't see anybody say they have it. Oh, wait. Mike Bennett. Acash is in the Cosmos ecosystem. All right. Memes are dumb. I agree. Bitcoin rules. But hey, they're charts. They're charts. Bitcoin not being too charty. Zoltan says AKT is awesome. Nice. Yeah, I heard about the Korean exchange listing stuff. I think there's some big... I think that there are big claims being made. Like, oh, Korean listings will pump them. I don't know about that. Just because one did, or who knows. Would not follow that too closely. I did say look at Bitcoin dominance. Let me look at this quick. We have just retraced since our high 2 weeks ago. It looks like we're coming back down to this Giga 2016 trend. We did break it, at least by my placement of the trend, I think is correct. Coming back down, looks like to back test it. I still think higher highs are coming for Bitcoin dominance, which likely means that altcoins are going to have some more pain, but that pain will end eventually. It will. Pain plus time in this space equals profit. Easiest crypto formula ever said. H-bar. Take a look at H-bar here. If I could type H-bar. What else are you guys looking at? Ryan, speaking facts, better off sitting on your hands and not trading with emotions. Ryan, you know it, baby. You know it. Check bonk chart. Yeah, we could check bonk. Oh, we got nuked on this H-bar trade. Wow, look at that stop loss didn't hit though. Nuked into that H-bar trade. I'll do a little update on H-bar. I guess I'll pull up bonk and Floki's to look at them. You degens, you make me look at all these dog-related things. I love dogs. Not as much their charts, but more just dogs. Let's see, where's Bonk at? Bonk didn't stop us out back to the entry. Actually, Bonk's still looking okay here. Still looking okay. Let me take a peek. Here we go. We finally got stopped out on one. There it is. Floki stopped us out. All right, I'm going to start with H-bar, though. Wow, what a dip. What a dip. Surprised we didn't have an entry there. Nope. All right. We were looking for a play on H bar off of 10 cents. 10 cents did not hold. Wow, that stop loss, man. That's a deep stop loss, but it does look like that played. H bar holding its 7 cent mark, we'll call it, something like that. Back above the entry at 10. Let's take a peek. What's changed on the week? Peak on the week. A little lower low on money flow, lower low on VWAP, but I do see that. Do you see some of that momentum shifting? H bar is currently at resistance on the week, 11.6-ish cents. I would not look for a long on H bar right here, right now, personally. Wow, look at this. This is beastly, dudes. Wow. I got a little bit more bullish on H bar here. Check this shit out. This is cool. You had a monthly order block, the same one we have on almost every chart, right? See this on everything. Shooting star doji monthly candle closed last month with the rest of the market sold off, but look where it sold to. February's open. This order block left a fair value gap right here at 7 cents. The monthly traded all the way down, wicked back up. Here's what I'm looking at. If H bar can close this monthly green, it's gonna be bonkers bullish. Like very, very bullish sign on the monthly. I think that has the momentum to take it to like 23, 24 cents on a good close. Even here though would be a good close, right? Don't get me wrong. This bottom wick way overshadows this little red body here. That is buying pressure. Right here would be good, but green would make this an awesome hammer candle. Awesome hammer candle. Man, I don't even know what to do because we still have quite some time on this month. No. 7 days, 7 hours. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to set an alert on H bar above 12 cents and pray that that goes off during this monthly. Looking down on low time frames, that may go off right now. That may go off in this stream. Seems like H bar over the course of the last 5 hours has put on about 30% hour over hour trucking to the upside. I know it's tempting to go long. I think that this is a very dangerous spot, though. I'm going to reiterate that. I would not look for a long right here, right now at the top of this candle. I'd rather sit it out than take that risk. However, if we see H bar sell off today, or even into the rest of the week, there may be another entry at 10 cents for a higher low, and that may be the signal or the entry to that 15-ish resistance above. Where are we at on the retracement? You got a pretty deep retracement going, actually. This thing's bullish today. Wow. Maybe we have some more spicy charts than I expected. That's not bad. Rolling over. Momentum. Not giving up. Wow. Anybody buy H bar recently? If you did, hats off to you. What I also like here, and we're going to move on. H bar, that was the monthly fill, but what I also like is it did not lose its support from February. Had it traded lower, that would be more problematic for me on a chart. As this stands, this is still a higher low after a higher high. While I don't love the entry or the trade going long right here, right now, I do think that this chart has more upside. This is looking good. Let's go to Bonk and then we'll look at Floki because we lost Flokes. The Flokesters. Let's go in the week. Bonk was looking really, really strong. Then it sold off with the rest of the market. It had painted a high, pulled back to a higher low, painted a higher high, a new all-time high. And for a few weeks, it seemed to be accumulating on top of that previous all-time high. Well, the market sold off and it brought everything down with it. It does look like Bonk was able to hold on to some meaningful support to paint that same bullishness that I just talked about on H bar. You had a higher high, you had a high, a higher low, a higher high, an all-time high, a higher low. And now what do you need to do? Move back up, take that 48, 49 mark. And I think that Bonk is not done then. Wow. Can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth. You have bullish divergence on the weekly on your lows. That's also cool. And the month, man, these months, dude, we've been looking at them and they're all finally playing out. order block that we see across almost the entire space. Similar to H-bar, boom, comes down, tests the top of the block. Did not get the full test like H-bar did, but still pretty good. Currently above last month's open, invalidating that bearish engulf with over a week to go. You may be seeing a beautiful candle paint here on Bonk. Let's see where we'd be looking to the upside. Since Bonk was at an all-time high, it doesn't have horizontal levels for us to use, so I'm going to use the Fibonacci extension tool, and that's going to bring us right up to 135. That's a big move. That's a big move. 400%. Actually, before I get you too excited, let's use this. Close enough. Using the local extension from our fib tool, we get close enough. I'm going to say 112. Break the all-time high on Bonk and make a 180% move until it breaks, or if it has to break first. If you break the all-time high, that's what I'd be targeting to take some profit. Nice. Not as sexy, Floki. We're just mashing through the big gainers. The top gainers on the last 24 hours, smashing through them. Not quite as beautiful. You don't have that same technical setup as either Bonk or H-bar. You do have a new local monthly resistance, which price is very close to. Looks like about a 25% move. Bottom looks good. Doesn't have that same juice as the other charts, though. That same juice. Bonk, I'm a little more skeptical of. Floki, a little more skeptical of. If there's much to TA here. We'll take our fib tool. Look at our retracement. Almost to the 618. So Floki likely having a little more upside into today. Maybe 4 or 5%. I don't think that's a good bet either, though. Let's take this. Yeah. Watch this daily close. If it gets sold back underneath this trend line, however you want to draw it, likely rejecting, going to try to find some support below it, but break the all-time high, and it brings us back to our familiar upside targets. Boom. Gotta set a new alert. Check Bonk. We did check Bonk. That's probably an old message. I need to refresh my chats here. They're starting to bog down my computer. Crypto Capo. Bruce, you calling me Crypto Capo? Or someone else? I hope someone. I'm the least capo-y, crypto-y guy, man. In fact, Capo and I disagree regularly. Floki, I'm not quite as bullish on. Not quite as bullish. That lower low kind of junked up this chart more than, say, Bonk, which had a beautiful back test, and H-bar with maybe the most beautiful back test that we've seen in some time. It does. I think H-bar's going like 12 cents today. All right. What else? 88 dot. What else do you guys want to see? Buy Floki, Tom Birdman. I think I might have like $50 of Floki or something. Capo or die. BlackRock News sending H-bar off. What was the news? You got Gummy at 2 cents. How do you feel about that? We had an article on Gummy on crownanalysis.com. That's all I really know about it. Can we look at Bitcoin and only Bitcoin, Jenny? We did look at Bitcoin. We talked about a lot of Bitcoin stuff. I like looking at what moves. Bitcoin creeping up here. I like this. I like this like march. This is a lot of strength. We're talking about the whack off accumulation versus distribution schematics. And it's still kind of up in the air. Let me pull these up for you. Still kind of up in the air what we're looking at. I don't think that the jury is in quite yet. All right, let me get schematic. One. Open image, a new window. Copy, paste, there we go. Okay, there is the distribution. Let's do accumulation is what I was looking for. Oh. Fine. So tiny. Trying to find the other schematic. Is this it? Might give up on it. Might give up on it. I'm just going to pull up Rainbow Runners. We looked at Jack, Crypto Jack, and Rainbow Runners kind of opposing thoughts on what off we are. One looking for accumulation, one looking for distribution, arguing both sides. Here we go. I'm just going to pull this up. This cat. So we got both of these. Actually, no, I think I could do it this way. Too large. Great. Here we go. Let's just look at these quick. So both still in play, in my opinion. Both eerily, uncomfortably similar to what we're looking for in price action. What we don't have for distribution is a break of our low. We don't have a break of our low with lower highs, leading to continuation to the downside. I pointed this out when we looked at this originally, that I believed it would have to be something like this. We never broke 59.2. It doesn't mean that it can't still be that distribution, but I think it is still kind of leaning to accumulation here. The difference in these schematics is kind of subtle, but the important part for accumulation is something, in my opinion, called the creek. This could very well be the creek. The creek is a slow, grinding downward move that eventually results in what is called the jump, or you can call it like a spring across the creek. This potentially could be it. I don't think we have moved high enough to actually confirm that. Really just back to the 618, not even breaking it yet, but it's still up in the air. I'm going to side or stick with the same thing I said last time, which is above 59.2. I think we're still in accumulation. A break below 59.2 likely going to be that signal that I've been wrong. Very wrong. This looks good today. Four-hour VWAP hitting 0. Momentum giving us that beautiful green dot. Money flow hitting higher highs. What's 𝐂𝐶 have to say? 𝐂𝐶 says, nope, we've been in an uptrend on the 4-hour. It looks like for 2 days now. Not bad. Not a lot of change.